Hi everyone, how are you keeping? I'm sure everyone would say it could be better. It could be better and it should be better. Let's all get together and make it better. So thank you very much for the Leo Club of Wickramasinghepura and Nadisha Vipulaguna for inviting me to join in with COVID-19 Biz Talk. As a Rotarian myself, it's very encouraging to see how Rotary, Rotaract, Lion and Leo clubs scattered all over the island are making efforts to flatten the curve and to bring life back to normalcy. This is something we've done over the years, locally as well as globally. So we need to be much stronger than ever this time to see an end to this pandemic and to bring the life back to normalcy in a better way. So let me also introduce myself. I'm Mr.Niroshan De Silva. I'm working for United Motors Lanka PLC as an Assistant General Manager. My area is spare parts. I'm an associate member of the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants UK, and I'm a member of Chartered Institute of Marketing UK, and I hold my bachelor's in business administration from USA. So before we start off, I'm apologizing you in advance if there is any hindrance or trouble. I'm not making this video inside a studio. This is in my residence. So if there's any hindrance or disturbance, please excuse me. I'm apologizing you in advance. So Nadisha wanted me to talk on two areas. One is how to face COVID-19 as an individual, and the other area is how to face COVID-19 as a corporate, as an employee of a corporate, as well as from the perspective of an organization. So let me first touch upon as to how as an individual we can face COVID-19. I mean, there are so many things we can do. We might be a little too late in this discussion because I think the curfew was imposed on March 16th, so it's almost 1.5 months gone, but never too late. Still there's time, and the numbers are increasing, so we don't really know till when the curfew will be imposed. I mean, even today there was a letter that was circulating in social media that the curfew in all districts will be lifted on Monday, but you never know. It's too early. It's still Saturday afternoon, so we don't know what the situation would be as numbers have been increasing dramatically. But let's keep the fingers crossed and let's hope that the numbers come down, and let's hope we'll be able to get back to work as soon as possible. But till then, let's make full use of ample time that's left. So one thing I would like to ask all of you is, think of all the things that you always wanted to do in life but you couldn't do because of time constraints. Try to do those. But if it's something like, say, if you are a person who lacks sleep, or if you are a person who couldn't watch TV series and movies, if that's what you want to do, please feel free to do it. Go ahead and do it, but don't overdo it and waste time, because this is some time that you can use very effectively and very productively. So keep a tab on that. Don't do the things you like that are not really going to add value to your life. Try to do things that you like that will also add value to your life. There are so many things you can do. I mean, already you would have seen, I'm sure, you can learn a new language. There are so many free online courses offered by great universities like even Harvard University, or even Google courses, digital marketing courses. That'll be part of the future. So there are so many things up there available, readily available, free of charge. All what you need is data, which is also being given by our service providers. So why wait? Go hunt for them. Also, another thing I would like to add, I mean, particularly considering the audience that I'm talking to, let's record all our expenses and see, let's try to realize how less our expenses have been. I think the only significant expense that can occur extra is the amount you would spend on traveling, maybe your fuel or your public transport cost, right? So just think for yourself and see what are the bare essential expenses you would need to occur. Add the component of transport expense too into that. Keep another premium to it, and try to make a monthly commitment. I'm sure you will be able to save a sizable amount. All this time you would have thought, okay, you have so many expenses, I can't really save such a large amount, but now you would have come to realize if you really put in a thought and if you live a simple life, you can save a lot. So try to do that. But I'm not here to say that you need to change the outlook of life. You need not to dress up well. No, that's not what I'm saying. Continue to dress well, continue to enjoy life too, but if you are being careful, I'm sure you can save quite a lot. So do that. Another thing that you can do is please talk to people in your life with whom you couldn't keep in touch. Check upon those people who matter in your life. Check if they are safe. Check if they have access to the essentials. These things, this period is a period for all of us to think what really matters in life. So give a thought to that. Help others as much as possible. Talk about those good deeds on social media, but make sure that you don't show the faces of the people who are at the receiving end, who are the recipients of your dry rations or food or whatever. Give them the dignity they deserve, but showcase on social media. It's free for every one of us. So showcase what you've done, because we need to create a good vibe, because all what we've been seeing is the deaths increasing, the cases increasing world over. So that's not really the vibe we need to create. We need to really create a positive vibe. So just share with everyone all the good deeds that you are doing. If you are if your employer has paid you in full for a month that you have not even worked, just feel free to go on social media and appreciate it. Some people might think, okay, you are, giving in too much, but it's not the case, because it's a tough time for companies too. World over, you would have seen job cuts, pay cuts, all of that. But if your company is still managing to pay you in full for a month that you have not worked at all, some may have worked from home, but for example, my industry, it's the amount of work you can do from home is very minimal. But still, if it paid you the full salary, please feel free to go loud about it. Give the credit where it's due. It's common to anyone and everyone. Just give the credit where it's due. Also, I think by the end of COVID-19, by the time we get back to work, we all must sort out at least a second stream of income. We can be working for 5 days, but rest of the 2 days we can do something, right? We need to find out, we need to figure it out. You might not be able to execute the moment everything is back on track, but you need to keep everything researched. You need to read about it. You need to be well conversant about all those aspects that should come into play. Also, another point I would like to add is, we are looking at a pretty bad economic situation post COVID-19. A lot of people say there'll be a 3 to 6% negative growth in Asia, this region, and some say it'll be the worst economic crisis after the Great Depression in 1929. So we do not know where it will actually lead to, but whenever there is an economic crisis, if you are a good manager of your funds, you always have a silver lining at the end of the dark cloud. So keep that in mind. If you want to invest, it'll be a good time to invest, maybe in stocks, maybe in real estate, because if once it hits the rock bottom, it's only meant to bounce back. So keep an eye on whatever the purchases you want to make, whatever the purchases that can be considered as investments. Start negotiating now, so once it hits the rock bottom, you can cash on it. Also try to reschedule your liabilities. Also take this as an experience and as a learning. I don't think any of our parents have faced a pandemic of this nature. For example, I don't think most of the Sri Lankans were used to wear face masks if they have cold or if they were coughing. But those were habits that were done. It's very common to see people in Southeast Asia wearing masks, but still Southeast Asia is where the pandemic started. But these are things for us to learn from. I don't think most of the people in this country wash the hands in the proper way for 20 seconds. There is an art of washing hands. So those are small things that we can learn and add to our lives. So let's make that a practice into our life. Let's make a note of all that we've learned. So those are the main points I would like to stress upon as to how an individual can overcome COVID-19. So let me now take your focus on to how to overcome COVID-19 from a corporate sense as well. I'm in two ways, as well as a corporate, as an individual, as well as from an organizational point of view. So, true, this is the worst economic crisis or the global crisis we've faced in our lives, but there have been so many in the past. This one is not easy. I'm not undermining it at all, but we as humans have faced much difficult times in the past. So if I take the period from 1914 to 1945, a 30-year period, we had World War I from 1914 to 1918 with 17.6 million deaths. Spanish flu in 1918 estimated at least 50 million deaths. Some say it can be even high as 100 million deaths. Then we had the Great Depression from 1929 to 1933. The economic depression of the Great Depression, the economic impact is unthinkable. Then World War II from 1939 to 1945, 73 million deaths. So altogether 140 million lives in a span of 30 years. Much worse than this. But of course this is a virus, you can't see what's happening, you won't see, even sometimes you might be a carrier where you have been infected but the symptoms won't come out. It's riskier like that. But we've faced tougher times, so let's face this as well. There's hope at the end of the tunnel. So there are so many things we can do. I will share with you some of my personal experiences, things I myself did as well as my company did. We've done a lot. I'm sure there are so many companies out there that have done a lot. So try to see what you can adopt from what I'm going to say in the coming few minutes. I would like to request you to always stay engaged with your team, with your colleagues, especially with the subordinates. Don't let them feel that you've forgotten them. I don't think anybody would want to walk into the office next week and be in a situation where for 1.5 months you've not spoken a word with your colleagues or the subordinates. So make sure you talk to them, be engaged. I think WhatsApp is a great way to do that. Also about COVID-19, share only how to survive. I don't think it's very difficult to sometimes avoid negativity, but try your level best. I don't think giving reports about how many deaths are there in the world or how people in Los Angeles are dumping on the sides of the roads would add anything to life or add any value to lives. So there are so many positive things that we can talk about even in this period. So try to share those stuff. Share material about how to buy essentials. Try to help each other. Then share fun, inspiring, motivating, thought-provoking material. There were so many that were shared in WhatsApp and Facebook, Instagram and other social media platforms. So share those. Share the material you get from friends as well. Share them with colleagues as long as it's appropriate. Share about free webinars, Zoom conferences, trainings that are all open for pretty much everyone at no cost. Also, another thing you can do is, one thing we did was organizing a talent show through WhatsApp. You can ask the families also to get involved. You can give away the gifts to the winners once we start work. You can have a competition for the kids and for the adults separately. Encourage the staff to share such creations even once the talent show is over. This was a great experience we had. In my company we have about 1,000 staff. There was a great amount of participation and enthusiasm for this. It was a great event that we did completely through WhatsApp, nothing else. Completely through WhatsApp we organized this talent show. It was a great way to engage the staff as well as their families, because this is a period everyone can get sort of depressed, confined into the houses, four walls. It's a tough situation, so many problems, so many concerns, but this is something that will help them get out of that. Sing a song, maybe a dance, maybe a small skit, something like that, or a magic trick, something that will get them out of that psychology. So that really helps. Also, have a conference call, ideally I would say at least once a week with your team. Check about how they're facing the crisis, check about their food, income and expenses. Also at a company level, I would like to suggest to form two teams. One is to manage the crisis and one is to plan the future after the crisis. So the crisis management team can check whether everyone in the company is safe. Stuff like sanitizers, face masks, hand gloves and everything are available in abundance. The planning team should plan how to overcome the crisis once we resume work. So there has to be two teams. I think it's very important that you have two teams. Then you need to have it all sorted and planned as to how you're going to resume work once the curfew is lifted. And also another thing you can do is talk to your clients, talk to your customers, check if they're keeping safe, because in a business, employees, dealers, customers, all of us, we are one family. So you need to check whether everyone's keeping safe. You don't talk anything about business when you talk to your clients or customers. Just ensure they are safe and see if they need any help. If they actually need any help, please actually see if there is a way you can help them out, because that'll, as from a human aspect, it'll be very nice, and also it'll carry a long way in a business sense too. And also you can organize a competition to gather ideas from the staff as to how to face the challenging environment after COVID-19. I mean, if the economy is going to go negative, doing the same things we used to do won't really help. Rather than trying to see how to increase the top line or reduce cost, think big. I mean, China was hit in December. My Chinese suppliers started asking me whether we need face masks by the end of February. That's how they progressed. So I think we can even benchmark them. We saw so many innovations by the locals, by the Sri Lankans during this time, from surgical beds to robotic nurses, so many things. Maybe there are inventors, there are innovators who have the ideas who might not have the financial capability. So let's see whether we can help them commercialize these products. Also, please ensure safety. Materials such as sanitizers, face masks, gloves are available and sent to all your branches and all your staff adequately. At this point, human lives are more important than anything else. Money is not even secondary. Human lives is number one, number two, number three. It's very important, so ensure employee safety. Don't compromise on safety gear at any cost. And even if you're planning to resume work, rostrate, don't get the whole staff to come in. Ensure that you have enough space to maintain the 1 meter social distancing. If there are employees from high risk areas like IDH or Grandpas or even Kurana or Beruala, make sure you don't get them to come to work. Even if they show the slightest symptoms, just a cough at least, don't get them to come to work, because safety is very important. Safety is the most important thing. So I think the other people in the branch or the deal operation, they can manage it for the time being. You can let go a person or two for a couple of weeks. That's not going to be a problem at all. Develop a detailed SOP, a standard order of procedures about the operations, how you're going to operate once the curfew is lifted. Please refer the instructions given by the government. You might have to adapt depending on the operations, the nature of the operations of your organization, but make sure that you do not override the government instructions. Also, develop a declaration document to disclose that there are no symptoms. This has to be given to the employees as well. It's because employees will be the first person to enter your work premise, apart from security. So they have to follow these protocols. They have to follow the stipulated procedure for medication. So they have to declare that they don't have any sort of illness or symptom. You can also make demonstration videos, because generally the nature is that all these things tend to happen in and around the head office, but you might have a large branch network. So you sending a standard order of procedures on a document might not be the most understood document. So you can actually make a demonstration video to do, which will be very easily understood and comprehended by staff across the board, depending on their educational levels, whether they are blue collar or white collar. It will be easily understood by everyone. So try to make demonstration videos, for example, how to wear the face masks, how to wear the gloves, how to sanitize, how to wash the hands, how to check the temperature when a customer is walking in, how you are going to check the temperature, what details you are supposed to take in, things like that. So put a lot of thought into this. Don't compromise at all. Put a lot of thought, get together and make a good declaration form, make a good SOP. Also, if there is a doubt about being in touch with the COVID-19 positive, don't panic. So you can communicate with your staff through WhatsApp groups, but there can be WhatsApp groups where you have everyone in, as well as WhatsApp groups where you have your senior management. So if there are situations, try to limit it to smaller WhatsApp groups. For example, we opened our workshops for 2 days last week to service vehicles from essential services. So we had few vehicles coming in from Sri Lanka Navy. So the day before yesterday, when the news broke out that there were 30 positive cases in Valisara camp, pretty much everyone lost their minds. But these things were discussed in a larger platform, which shouldn't be the case. Then we intervened and shifted the discussion to a much smaller WhatsApp group where only the senior management is there. Then we checked, and all the vehicles that came to us didn't come from the Valisara camp. All of them came from naval headquarters in Colombo. So there was hardly any reason for us to worry about. But the nature is such, when you have service vehicles from Navy, and if there are patients or positive cases from Navy I'm taking as an example, it can be from anywhere. So if your staff get to know that they've gotten in touch with someone who is likely to be positive, they get panicked. But don't let that happen. But let's say, for example, if the vehicles were from Valisara, and if there were Navy officers who were later found to be positive, who have come to your workshop and who have gotten in touch with your staff, then of course tell all of them to take all precautions, tell them to quarantine themselves even at their residences. So I hope you understand what I'm saying. As long as it's the crisis, don't take it to a larger platform, to a larger forum. Discuss in a smaller room, right? But if it is the crisis, then of course inform everyone so that they can take the precautions. Also, at this point, it's a difficult time for all the businesses, but try to pay the salaries on time without pay cuts. This is easily said than done, because the business situation is differing from company to company. Some companies can afford to do that, some companies cannot. But laying off staff, keep it as the last option, or actually no option in my opinion, because there are so many people depending on the income of one person. So if there is a situation where we have to send off employees, let's get together, let's commit to a pay cut for everyone, but still saving the jobs for all, because that will save so many families. Because that's we all have to be a lot more humane in this situation. I think larger salary drawing employees can afford a larger salary cut, and we can sort of funnel it down like that. So the lower end employees who are the lower end, who are drawing lower salaries, can afford a lower cut or no cut, but let's try to save the jobs for all. And also, even in the company level, try to reschedule the liabilities to make the cash flow positive, so we can face this tough situation. It will not be forever, it will only last for a few months. We can bounce back. So I told about 4 major catastrophes we faced from 1914 to 1945 within a gap of 30 years. But to give you hope, as my concluding note, let me draw your attention to some of the brands and products that were invented during this time. So that's the amount of hope. Every crisis gives a lot of hope. If we are being smart, there are so many positivities that we can bring upon. So let me touch upon a few brands like that. So World War I from 1914 to 1918, that's when the concept of blood banks came into being. That's when the sanitary pads were introduced. That's when stainless steel became commercialized. That's when zippers came in. The 1918 Spanish flu, that's the era grocery bags with handles came in, and fortune cookie came in to give hope to people who are suffering. Then Great Depression, when everyone was giving up hope, when everyone was losing jobs, Revlon came. Revlon, it's not a food item, it's a beauty product, but that came in to give hope in 1932, and the Great Depression finished in 1933. I'm not saying Great Depression ended because of Revlon, but Revlon did give a lot of hope to everyone around the world who are especially suffering from the Great Depression. In World War II, famous Ray-Ban came in 1936, Superglue came in 1942, Fanta came during the World War II, duct tape came in World War II. So let's think a bit, let's see what we can do differently. This is definitely a dark cloud, but all the dark clouds has its own silver lining. So let's keep hope, we can do this. So thank you very much once again to Leo Club of Wickramasinghepura for this opportunity. I hope I would have shared something worthwhile for all of you. So thank you very much once again. Stay safe, stay indoors, be a responsible citizen, and to help overcome COVID-19 as soon as possible. Stay safe, stay blessed. Thank you very much.